Well, hello everybody there. My name is Mark Jones. Thank you to everybody who has logged in to join us today for this very special webinar. I am, as I said, Mark Jones. I'm the editor of ehealthspace.org, and we are the voice of healthcare, a website that's been running now for a bit more than a year, and we've really enjoyed the great response that we've had to our website. Now, today we're talking about health systems integration. And specifically, we're looking at Epworth Healthcare and their journey with systems integration and the use of the Orion Rhapsody product. Now, before I go on a bit further, there's a few more things just to let you know. On the right-hand panel, you should have the control panel for GoToWebinar. There is an ability to write some questions, and you can see there there should be a little tab where it allows you to write a question. So can I encourage you, as the event is going on, please just write down your question, and that will appear in the list, and at the conclusion of our presentation we will answer the questions. It would be great too if you could put who the question is for. Now, that question would either be for Orion or it would be for Epworth. So if you could just let us know, that would be really, really good. So with that said, let me just say this, that one of the reasons we're holding this webinar is that we really believe in improving patient outcomes through technology. That's the vision that we have at eHealthSpace. We really believe in eHealth's ability to change patient outcomes in a very practical and meaningful sense. It's also a vision that's shared by Orion, our sponsors, and for Epworth Healthcare. So that's the big picture as to why we're doing this, and we believe that some of the conversations that we'll have today can contribute towards that. Now, as I said, regardless of whether you're joining us on the VoIP or the phone line, there is an ability to write some questions, so please don't hesitate to do that. So without any further ado, I'm going to give the keyboard and mouse controls to Kelsey Grant, and he will I'm sure any moment now be able to step us through his presentation. Because now that's a picture of me, and Kelsey, I hope that you're on the line, and we could go from there.
Thanks, Mark, and I really appreciate the opportunity to address this audience. So I'll just step through a little bit. There's going to be a nice picture of me coming up too. And broadly speaking, we see three major factors that are causing shifts in the way healthcare organisations manage their integration. And the first is that organisations are under pressure to do a lot more, and they're often not doing more is not backed up by more resources. So that often means connecting up more systems within their organisation, but often across organisational boundaries. At the same time, a typical healthcare organisation or hospital can have hundreds of different systems of various shapes and sizes. And while a number of the core systems, patient administration systems and the like, might be integrated, there's significant value in integrating some of the more niche systems. But with that level of volume, it can be quite a challenge for them. And then finally, within Australia, of course, we've got a lot of change in e-health and new standards coming on board, courtesy of NETA. So a lot of organisations are looking ahead and trying to figure out how they're going to manage this. Are they going to expect all their system vendors to upgrade and support new standards, or are they going to take a more integration or translation at the boundary type approach? So as a result of these factors, we have seen a number of organisations looking to change their approach, either from point-to-point based integration, or for those with more legacy integration broker, to move to a more modern system, and particularly a system that's focused a lot more on health. So for those that don't know, just quickly a little bit about Orion Health. We are a global e-health vendor, and we're focused purely on health. More than anything else, our focus is on integration, so pulling together clinical information from existing systems within or across facilities. And we do this either at a data integration level or by offering a clinical portal. Some of you may be aware that we're part of the National Infrastructure Partner Consortium for the Personally Controlled Electronic Health Record, where we're providing the National Provider Portal and components of the National Consumer Portal. So the focus of this webinar is not on us, it's on Epworth and their journey of data integration. As Mark mentioned, they use Rhapsody for their data integration. Now, we refer to Rhapsody as a healthcare service bus, and that's because it provides both traditional HL7-based data integration as well as a range of more modern web services capabilities. And it's designed to provide interoperability between systems regardless of the data standards used. It comes with a range of pre-built health standards as well as a robust and easy-to-use monitoring capability for operations staff. So depending on where an organisation is at in terms of their current integration capabilities, there can be a range of different benefits. Some organisations that are more point-to-point based in their current integration will be able to gain benefits from connecting new systems and decoupling existing systems and providing a better monitoring capability. Other organisations using a legacy integration broker will find Rhapsody's focus on health and ease of use to be a significant advantage. So finally, before I hand over to Sandra, Rhapsody is a mature tool with ongoing support for new standards, and generally what we hear from our customers is that Rhapsody is significantly easier to use than competing products, and that its focus on health makes data integration much quicker. And so with that, Mark, back to you. Introduce Sandra.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. It's great, and it's really good to get the big picture perspective as well as some of the details about your focus in this area. I have handed over the controls to Sandra Haslam-Hillier, who is Group IT Information Management Manager at Epworth Healthcare. Sandra, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Mark and Kelsey, and yes, that is a bit of a mouthful for a title. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us today to gain some insight on Epworth's Rhapsody journey to date. For those who don't know much about Epworth Healthcare, Epworth is the largest not-for-profit healthcare group in Victoria, Australia. We currently have around 1,100 beds across multiple sites in Melbourne. This includes both acute and rehab facilities. Epworth are leaders in a number of areas. Notably, we have the largest private maternity unit in Victoria, and we were the first to use the Da Vinci robots in prostate surgery. In 2004, Epworth consisted only of the Richmond campus. Since then, we've acquired a number of other sites, including Epworth Freemasons, Epworth Clevedon, Epworth Brighton and Camberwell, and we have built a new hospital at Box Hill called Epworth Eastern. We're currently in the process of redeveloping the Richmond site, which will increase the number of beds from 495 to around 760, and the number of theatres from 17 to 35. As well, we're also redeveloping the Camberwell site, increasing the number of beds from 75 to 142. As for future sites, we have signed agreements with Deakin University Geelong and Monash University Clayton to build 2 new hospitals of around 300 beds each over the next 4 to 6 years. Acquisition of these hospitals, we have substantially increased the number of disparate and diverse applications that we have to support. Healthcare organisations seem to have a high number of applications compared to other types of businesses. We have gone through and continue to go through a process of consolidation and standardisation across the group to reduce costs and gain efficiencies by using the same applications, and hence we have a group approach to application procurement. We did have early attempts at integration, especially at Epworth Eastern using IBM's BEA WebLogic message-oriented middleware. However, the system was fragile, was difficult to support and maintain, required a number of other maintenance tools to plug the gaps that it couldn't fulfill, and took 40 minutes to stop and restart the services. It also needed a full-time staff member to monitor only 3 interfaces, and it was also very expensive. Whoops. I'm actually getting ahead of myself. When it comes to transferring information between systems without connectivity, most organisations have the transfer mechanisms in place. The obvious one that are listed. The obvious one that's not listed on the slide is the duplicated effort of manually entering information into multiple systems by staff. Since Epworth's integration commenced 11 months ago, we have replaced the BEA WebLogic MOM integration engine and have continued to work on replacing other point-to-point links. We have also undertaken integration of a number of new systems that have been introduced during this time. From a business perspective, we found in using Rhapsody it is easy to build and accelerate the development of links between systems and substantially reduce turnaround times to delivery of interfaces. We were able to change the old BEA WebLogic interfaces across to Rhapsody in 2 weeks. The whole implementation was so seamless that outside the IT department no one noticed that we'd actually changed. With Rhapsody's flexibility, robustness and ease of use, we have been able to train general application support staff to monitor and read messages, thereby distributing the load of responsibility so they are no longer reliant on integration specialists being available 24/7 if something does go wrong. In relation to distribution, we've been able to reduce the number of interfaces that we've in place and where possible reuse interfaces. For instance, we have a single distribution push from our patient management system to downstream systems. This makes it easy to manage. Rhapsody is very scalable and we're able to use as much or as little of Rhapsody as we like. As for using current staff levels, we've been able to capitalise on existing skill sets by using our DBAs as our integration specialists. There have been a number of challenges along the way and I'm sure that we'll continue to come across them as we go along our journey. I have included 3 that we have come across so far. For Epworth, all of our radiology, pathology and pharmacy services are outsourced to third-party providers. For Epworth Eastern site alone, there are 8 different pathology providers. This makes for a challenge in getting third-party providers on board, as not all of them have integration capability. We have had to work with each one individually in order to achieve this, and it's taken considerable time as they don't see that this is a priority to them. The Clayton's transaction, as I like to call it, occurs when one system is updated and doesn't create a corresponding message to downstream systems. These transactions take time to identify, analyse and resolve and may require notification to software vendors of a fault, changes to internal processes including setting alerts to pick these up when they occur, or custom code changes in the integration engine to accommodate and rectify the fault. There are also other systems which have been purchased by internal departments where at the time of purchase no thought was given to integration, which they now wish to integrate but don't have the dollars to purchase the vendor broker or the software vendor who doesn't understand integration full stop. The key message here is think about integration early. At acquisition time would be good. It shouldn't be an afterthought, especially in health. The ultimate objective of implementing an enterprise integration engine is to provide greater synergies, efficiencies and effectiveness, thereby optimising business decisions and processes through leveraging existing IT systems. At Epworth, we believe that good integration can contribute to the success of the health organisation. Through doctor satisfaction, doctors are able to make informed decisions by having all information about a patient in one place instead of having to log into multiple systems to gain that insight. Through patient satisfaction, by improving clinical outcomes, mitigating risk and improving the patient experience. And through employee satisfaction, by eliminating double entry of data across applications, reducing data errors, thus improving data quality and resource efficiency where staff are available to do other duties. So, okay, that's it for me. Now I'm going to pass you across to Rob, who is our Senior Database Administrator Integration Specialist in brackets, at Epworth to provide you with an insight in using and managing Rhapsody on a day-to-day basis. Thanks, Rob.
What I'd like to do now is a bit more technical in nature. I'll address the return on investment aspects of Rhapsody, but I'll do it in terms of the intangible where the real savings happen. Coding and debugging. This is where things can go horribly wrong. The more code you have, the more time and effort is required to make sure the code is working correctly, and vastly more time and effort if you should find something wrong with it. Picture says 1,000 lines of code. With a simple drag and drop interface, Rhapsody will save you hours of coding and give you a visual representation of what your integration paths are and do. There is even a component which lets you add more code here if you want to use it. But why would you spoil your day by making things go horribly wrong? Log trawling. Every application out there has its own technique for logging message traffic, including any errors. While this may be useful, Rhapsody presents a standard view of all its messaging, from receiving the message all the way through to receiving an acknowledgement from the downstream application. It's the same for any application that interfaces with Rhapsody. An added bonus is that it will also track any of the business rules that you might have applied along the way. And tie this in with a generic full-text search, you'll never need to look at a physical log file again. Panic and worry. From the start, we designed our entire Rhapsody framework around support. The web-based management console that comes with Rhapsody forms the core resource for how our business is operating. It is not left up to one or two people to keep an eye on things. Everyone in the information technology team has access to see if our integration processes are running. As the integration specialist, I only hear the cry of messaging is not working, when in fact it isn't. Using the management console myself, it's a trivial matter to see the current state of things and just as easy to fix the basics. I have a little bit more access than our support staff. Most of the time, you'll be pushing your applications team to fix up things at their end. Integration. We want less integration rather than more. We get this as we can easily set up a hub and spoke topology with Rhapsody as the central hub. As long as we can get an application to communicate with Rhapsody, we can distribute any messages to as many or as few other applications as you want, or none at all. With this topology, we can standardize on a single HL7 version. Each application gets translated to this internal standard of ours so that all applications are speaking the same language. Documenting. At the push of a button, it's done. We love it when it's that simple. That even includes your field notes for those tricky bits where you did actually need some extra effort to work out what was going on. And finally, Rhapsody. That's what you'll feel. Rhapsody is also the panacea for all our integration woes. Must have something to do with a focus on healthcare.
And that's it from us.
Thank you very much. And you did have just a last slide here with the systems integration. And did you want to just speak very briefly to that?
Yeah, that just basically shows that in the 11 months that we've had Rhapsody in place, these are the applications that we've completed to integrate. And also on the other side is looking at what we intend to be integrating over the next 12, 18 months to 2 years at the most. There are a couple of applications there that, one in particular that we haven't got at this stage, but we intend to pick up over the next probably 3 to 6 months, which is bed management. But that's what we're intending to push into Rhapsody over the next 12 to 18 months. Thank you.
That's great. Well, thank you very much. So let's go to a Q&A session, and we have a couple of questions to get us going. And Bernie Crow has actually got a question for Kelsey. And Kelsey, I'm going to just unmute you so that we can hear you there, Kelsey.
Yep, yes I am. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, Kelsey, Bernie Crow asked a question. He says, how do you see IHE profiles playing out in the Australian setting?
Okay. Well, thanks, Bernie. So I guess probably the most immediate thing that I'm aware of is for those that have reviewed the PCHR National Infrastructure B2B specifications, a lot of the document exchange within those is based on XDS. In particular, the conformant repositories and the like use XDS to manage that. There is a slight sort of, I guess, tweaking of that to ensure that the privacy and security aspect is well maintained. So that's the main place that I've seen some real strong, that'll really impact the uptake of IHE profiles. And I guess from a product sense, our Rhapsody 5 release in April has quite a strong focus on IHE profiles, XDS, and a number of other profiles as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Now, the next question we have, I'm going to presume, is for Sandra. And Sandra, just going back to your presentation about the application of the different solutions, including Rhapsody, the question is, hi, are you using this on iPads and iPhones? And that's from Sinead Russell.
Well, we're using Citrix as a front end to iPads and mobile devices. We're only in the process of trialling those at the moment. We do use fast user switching devices here as well. So we've got quite a number of a variety of devices that we're using. So as long as Rhapsody is, available there to integrate our back-end systems, then the front-end systems will display the information on the tools that are available or the devices that are available.
Okay. And just broadly speaking, how many clinicians across the organisation are using iPads and iPhones?
Currently we've been doing some trials out at Epworth Eastern, which is probably our most technologically set up site with a full wireless access, etc. We have around 10 to 15 of them using them at the moment, but our intention is to start rolling that out a little bit more. We've been in the throes of implementing our BOSNet, which is our electronic medical record, over the last 12 months, and we've been going through training the clinicians on how to actually use that application, which has a scanned medical record component, radiology, pathology and pharmacy included, as well as electronic forms creation within that. So we're hoping that the doctors will take that all on, and and we can go forward with that implementation of an electronic medical record across the rest of the hospitals.
We can hope indeed. Well, the questions continue to come in. So Sandra, another one for you, and this is from Eric Lee. I hope I pronounced that right, L-I-E. Eric Lee is, he says, Sandra, you have 8 different pathology providers. How have you managed the pathology results inbound to your hospital? And are you doing information within Rhapsody, or have you been able to enforce standards, i.e. LOINC?
We've actually been talking to all of our pathology providers. It's quite interesting. Being a private organisation, we can't mandate that doctors use certain pathology providers. They all like their own pathologists reporting and that sort of thing. So yes, we've ended up for Epworth Eastern 8 different pathology providers. We've had to sit down with each of those pathology providers and talk to them about getting messages sent in. And they've actually come on board, which is really good, although it's taken some time to achieve this. And they all have their own little brokers that we have sitting on a third-party server that we have in place here that bring all those messages in, and then Rhapsody manages all of that and then distributes it off to our electronic medical record.
Okay, great. Thank you for that answer. Now, Ken Molyneux has a question saying, how is ID and authentication managed? Is authentication of users NITO, NASH, and PCEHR compliant? How do you feel about tackling that one, Sandra?
I think I might grab that one.
Yes?
I think it's more Kelsey, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So I guess so NASH, I guess, is focused. There's two parts to that. There's the authentication of individuals and organisations. So for some of the organisational, B2B services and data interactions, we do a number of things around certificate management and the ability to use, for example, client mode authentication on TLS and SSL. We've got a slightly broader program. It's a bit of a work in progress at the moment around supporting a range of the new standards like HI service and NASH and CDA and things like that. So there'll be some more stuff coming out later on this year, Rhapsody and a lot of the PCHR related standards.
Okay. The news journalist in me just got a bit interested there, so we'll keep a watch out for that one. Let's keep moving on. I want to make sure in the closing minutes that we have here we can answer the questions. We've got about 3 minutes to go by my clock. So Yvonne Sherlock, there's a question for Orion while you're there, Kelsey. For electronic ordering, how do you map the test codes to pathology providers, and how do you keep them up to date with the many changes that pathology make? Great question.
So how do we? So the question is, how do we map orders to provide? Sorry, I missed the question. The detail.
Well, I'm actually just I've just made that public, hopefully that, and so you can see that yourself. But can you read that, or would you like me to read it?
Yeah, no, I've got that. Okay, so I guess from a technology standpoint, then in that kind of transaction, Rhapsody's got a task around doing code translations and lookups. So we I guess there are two modes that we'd typically operate in. One is where we keep effectively what amounts to a lookup table within the integration broker. So that's the only place that maybe that lookup and translation needs to be done. So would link one set of test codes to another set of provider codes, and as the HL7 messages flow through, effectively do a lookup and a translation. Sometimes organisations have a broader need on code translations, and particularly around link codes and merging results from multiple providers. So in that circumstance, sometimes there's a more centralised code translation service, which we might talk to over a web service type capacity. That might be like a health languages type thing.
Okay, great. We're just going to move on, and Sandra, Bernie's back with another question. How difficult, on a scale of 1 to 10, will be the integration of PACS to Rhapsody?
I don't think that we're going to have too much trouble with the integration of PACS using Rhapsody. I would think that just pushing across the DICOM images, Rhapsody will pick those up and put them into our electronic medical record. I don't really see any problems with that at all. Again, the issue that we've got is because our radiology providers are outsourced, so that's probably more the challenge, is getting them on board to do that part of it. At the moment, we're picking up all the reports through HL7 and putting them into our electronic medical record, and I wouldn't think that we would have that much trouble with the PACS.
Okay. And do you have any view to using CDA in the future? Angus Miller asks.
CDA. Can you explain a little bit more about?
I think we actually might need a translation there, Angus. We might move on. We're actually nearly we're nearly out of time. There's a couple more questions continuing to come in. Robert Garriga, I hope I've got that right, says, do you have a clinical portal that fronts the integration engine, or are you developing something? If you just got a quick answer to that.
No, we don't have a full-blown clinical portal at the moment that fronts Rhapsody. We do have BossNet, which is our electronic medical record. So really, in fact, that is our front-end portal for patient information for the doctors. So Rhapsody sits in between all of the broker systems from our pathology, radiology, pharmacy providers, and the broker that comes with BossNet. So it just manages the messages going through and ensures that all of the interfaces are up and running.
Okay, great. Now I'm aware that we're just gone past the 30 minutes that we said we would do. There are a number of more questions here and I want to be able to try and squeeze that in, if that's okay with everyone. If you have to go, we do understand that, but we'll just spend a couple more minutes to answer these questions, if that's okay with everybody. There's a question here from Nick Creek, who has a question for Kelsey, he thinks. Now, Kelsey, can you see that there? It's Rhapsody.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Do you want to maybe read it and then you give the answer?
Okay, so Rhapsody is primarily an integration engine, and integration should be of major concern at purchase time of a product. But can Rhapsody have a practical role in migration of historic data when moving from one clinical system to another? The answer is yes, absolutely. And I guess the reason is because you often, it depends on how data is being extracted from legacy systems, but you know, there's often a big need to do a lot of data transformation, and then if the system that's being loaded into requires an HL7 based feed rather than a bulk interface feed, then a typical approach may be to do a lot of that transformation of message-oriented integration in Rhapsody. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
I think that's fine for the moment. I think we've got 3 more to go here, and I think I might just give me a quick look. We might actually, I think, wrap it up at that point. So thank you very much for our presenters and such a great overview of Rhapsody and also the experience at Epworth Healthcare. Our final slide you can see says, if you would like to find out more about Orion Health's Rhapsody product, then there's a link there, and you can also speak with Jimmy Young, who is the Business Development Manager at Orion Health. So thank you for your time, and Kelsey, I don't know if you'd like to say a couple of final closing thoughts as we wrap up this webinar.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to say thank you to yourself, Mark, to Sandra and Rob, and all the attendees for taking the time to watch the webinar. I hope it was useful, and please don't hesitate to get in touch with Jimmy or myself, and look forward to hearing from people.
That's great. Well, thank you very much, everyone. When you log out of the webinar, you should be prompted for a quick survey. We'd love to improve on these in the future. We'd love your thoughts and feedback on this webinar today. Thank you again for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.